Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. Sorry there hasn't been one for a while. There is a little mini rant at the end of the episode about how Premiere Pro is the bane of my existence. And if you hear a weird buzzing sound on the audio, it's because I have a fan on, even though it is 10 o'clock at night. We are in the middle of a heat wave in Liverpool and it's like 30 degrees in here. Today we are looking at Dark Ages, all mods, so I'm going to be covering the mods that I didn't cover in my last Dark Ages episode where I put it up against the graphics pack. A few things to mention: I have swapped out traditional fancy dungeons for traditional dungeons. The mountain texture I've changed, and I accidentally left Dust Effect HD on, so I suppose we'll be taking a look at that as well. First things first, we'll be looking at Dark Ages food, which is exactly what it sounds like. It makes some of the food items in the game look a bit nicer. Not all of them, but certainly all the ones I've got on screen here. As you'll know, I consider these type of details as peripheral details. It's something you'll walk past 1,000 times and barely notice. So if you want to use some of your allocated mod space on food and obviously some of your processor power as well, then be my guest. We're just going to flick through these screens really quickly, don't want to spend too much time on them. And as the rest of these just go by, I'll just explain that we are looking at Dark Ages castles, which is all of the main castles in one mod. You can actually get them as separate ones if you mod, say, the College of Winterhold and you don't want to risk a confliction there. You can just go for the individual castles instead of this one big one that we're going to. First things first, we're going to take a look at the SMIM add-on. We are comparing it against the vanilla, so here's the vanilla, and with the SMIM add-on you can see that we get a nice barrel opening animation there, and we'll see some more of the SMIM in the next screen as we take a look at Dark Ages signs. So one of the things you'll notice is those chains on the signs there, they're going to become fully 3D. There you go. The post has changed as well. The actual sign itself hasn't changed, but we do have a few more to look at and we will see the changes. So here you can see the posts and pretty much everything change. There you go, and the ropes and the little brass hoops that actually hold the signs up are now modelled in full 3D. Just outside Bleak Falls Barrow here, so we're going to take a quick look at the snow and the mountains as well. Not a big fan of that snow texture at all. It actually looks worse than the vanilla in my opinion, and you'll notice that the mountains have changed, not too dissimilar from the last Dark Ages mountains we looked at, just a bit darker. Inside, you're not going to see too much change here. The little pillars with the icons that you have to rotate to open the gate have changed, and a couple of smaller other details. As I said last time, we covered fantasy dungeons, so this is traditional dungeons. Not going to see a massive amount of change here. I think the textures just get a bit of a refresh, but you can see they change ever so slightly, even though it does appear to be the same texture. And I just threw these screens in here just so we can take a quick look at that HD dust mod. I'm assuming that lovely floating smoky texture is down to that. I should have turned it off just to double check. I am kicking myself about that. And we're now moving on to Dark Ages castles. So we are in Skyhaven Temple. And you'll see there wasn't a massive amount of change there in that screen. I know Alduin's wall's got a bit more detail on it, we'll look at that a bit closer in a moment, and a few of those rock textures changed, and it's the same on this screen as well. Again, not a massive amount of change throughout Skyhaven Temple, but we will notice in all the other locations that there is a big step up in the difference between the before and after. And here we're going to take a closer look at Alduin's wall. Again, you're going to see the same texture, but it just looks a bit more detailed. And there we go, got a little bit of a refresh, looks a bit brighter and a little nicer. And as we head outside into the train area, not a lot changes. You'll notice the moss and creeping ivy disappear just on that shelter on the right hand side there. So looks like Delphine's been keeping herself busy doing the weeding, but not much else changed. That can't be said for High Hrothgar though. You're going to see pretty much everything changes on this screen as the stone bricks get much darker, and of course the mountains on the right hand side change there as well. And as we head on into the inside, we're going to see those changes continue throughout as well. So again, pretty much everything's going to change here. The plant pots on the right, the floor, the walls, everything. And that just looks lovely. I'm loving that smoke hanging in the air there. Again, I'm assuming that's down to the HD dust mod, but I can't be 100% certain. And we've got the reverse angle here so you can get another look at it. And when we bring in Dark Ages, tell me if you think it looks a bit blurry. It looks very nice, but does that look slightly blurry to you? The textures in the foreground are certainly very sharp. The further back it goes though, that atmospheric fog becomes quite thick. I am a fan of it, don't get me wrong. I don't think it looks worse than vanilla. It just looked a little bit blurry to mine. And next up we have the conference room, and this transition is actually my favourite in the video. I love that. I just love the smoke hanging over the table and everything just looks lovely. Obviously that was in the previous shot as well, but combined with the textures from Dark Ages castles, it does look very nice. And heading back outside into the courtyard, we're going to see those same dark brick textures come into play from the previous outside shot. You will notice that the actual ground texture doesn't change at all. I do have the Dark Ages landscape mod on, so we can just assume that it doesn't change High Hrothgar, although I'm pretty certain it does have a frozen dirt texture on it, so not quite sure what's going on there. And as we move on to the College of Windhold, you're going to see complete retexture of the building like High Hrothgar. You can see there it's much brighter. I don't know if I like it so much. I quite like the College of Windhold to be dark and dingy, but the mod notes do say that the Archmage Shelador decided that he was going to brighten up the college using magic, so it's blame Shelador. Here in the courtyard you're going to see the same retexture obviously, but if you look at the door in the background you'll notice it's got a nice blue hue magic effect on it. And we will head inside and take a look at the interior. Inside in the Arcadian we're going to see those similar brighter textures all come into play here, and I'm not a fan. I did like the vanilla texture more than these textures. I don't know what it is, it's just too bright, the rock looks too rough, but to each their own. And we're going to see the same textures come into play here as well in the Archmage's quarters. Again, there's nice detail to those textures, but I'm not a fan of them. Next up we are at the the Dawn Guard's fortress. I don't know what it's called, I just call it Castle Grayskull. as you can see there, we do have a retexture on the actual fortress itself, and we can see all of those rocks have changed as well with the different rock texture. And here in the dining room, I'm not sure what it is, we're going to see the floor and the walls get a retexture there. Looks very nice, certainly better than the College of Winterhall retextures, I feel. And as we move into the common room, we're going to see those same textures as the dining room come into play. And also, if you look at the chandeliers, it looks like the SMIM add-on has added another little bit of metal in the middle of the chandeliers, so there's that. And our final location is Castle Valkyrie. You'll see again a massive retexture. That tower on the right looks much nicer. I actually can't get into the castle because I am a proud werewolf. I am not a filthy bloodsucker, so I am barred from going in at this moment. But we can take a look at the exterior and the little dock area at the back as well, and again we'll get a complete retexture over this whole area. So there we go. On the whole, I do like Dark Ages. I do think there's a couple of mods in there that we can do without, like the food mod. We don't really need that. Signs isn't massively important to me either, but all the main retextures are very nice. I would definitely get your own snow retexture, and there are nicer mountain textures out there as well, and because the mod is split up, it's very easy to override what you don't want with your own mod by just putting it below the Dark Ages. Thanks for watching. If you do want to request the mod, just drop it in the comments. If you have submitted the request in the last few weeks, don't worry. Just because I've done this video doesn't mean I'm not going to do your suggestion. I just noticed it in the store and decided, because my last video was Dark Ages, that I go ahead and cover the rest of them. Now it's time for my little mini rant. So basically, in the last few weeks, Adobe have decided that they're going to stop supporting 32-bit audio codecs, which is exactly what the capture device uses. So even though I could get an MP4 to play on a potato, I can't get it to run in this software, which is not cheap. I'll tell you that. It does cost me over £600 a year for the whole Adobe remaster, the Adobe collection, and basically anything that I could use to try and get around this problem, like Adobe Media Encoder or the Audition, I think it's called, the all have stopped supporting 32-bit audio codecs. Adobe says they're looking into it. It's been that way for months and there's still no word, so it's very frustrating. And basically I had to roll back to a previous version of Adobe to get it work. And after recording all the audio for this video and editing it, as I was about to click on export, it crashed, and it seemed that it hadn't done an autosave in at least 2 hours, so pretty much all that work was gone. I'm not happy. I used to use Final Cut. It was a dream to edit in Final Cut. It's a one-off payment of like £200, and it's just so easy and intuitive to use, and I feel Adobe Premiere isn't that good compared to that, so to have to put up all this bullshit as well has kind of irked me a little bit. So hopefully Adobe are going to get on that and fix it, because I'll tell you, I am livid right now. But anyway, you're not interested in any of that. Videos will resume as normal now that I've been able to roll back to a previous version. I should be okay to keep doing my videos. So thanks for your patience, thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.